Hello there, welcome to another episode of World of Tanks at T28. We're here on Airfield and I'm on the T28 Prototype. I must confess that over the past month I feel that I haven't been playing that well. I've been playing very inconsistently and I've had a lot of very poor games. Games where my situational awareness has really let me down. I'm not paying the same level of attention or paying the same level of concentration to the game that I had been prior to that. And I'm not altogether sure why. I can see it in my statistics that I haven't been doing that well, and I've been doing particularly badly in this particular tank, the T28 Prototype. I've over 100 games in the T28 Prototype and I have a win rate of around 36%, which is absolutely appalling. I'm in fact probably more harm to my team than good for that kind of a win rate. The average player manages a win rate of around 48%, 49% thereabouts. This is compared to my 60% win rate with over 250 odd games in the T25/2. I have even in the Charioteer, say, which I've over nearly 300 games or over 300 games in, which is another tier 8 tank destroyer that I didn't mesh very well with during most of the grind. I have a win rate of 46%, so I'm doing particularly badly on this tank, despite the fact that when I have good games, they tend to be very good games. I get a lot of first class mastery games in this tank. I also feel that I haven't been doing so well on the T54E1 and recently, although I have overall reasonable enough. I have a 50% win rate on the T54E1, which I think is perfectly acceptable in a tank that you're grinding. But quite a lot of my losses have been in situations I've gotten a couple of shots off, 2 to 3 shots in the T28 Prototype, and then I'm dead, or the team has collapsed around me and I haven't seen it coming, which is poor situational awareness. This particular game I was just convinced we were going to lose. Our entire team is to the west of me, they're right in front of me, and most of them are trying to get around on the seaward side, which is a complete bottleneck. And the team now control the airfield, they control the hills to the south of the airfield, and if we continue the game on the insert and just cheat and use the replay system to pull out the mini-map from a point of view of both sides, you can see that the enemy have all the cards are in their hands right now. The two tanks in the northwest are effectively out of the game. They're too far away. Most of the targets they can't see, and the guns they have aren't suitable for sniping at those kind of distances. These tanks in the middle, there's actually I think 5 of them there, 'cause there's at least one medium. They are trying to snipe south, and if you look out here where the insert is, you're looking at what they see, which isn't much. They don't get many opportunities or many targets to shoot at. Most of our tanks are at the cliff edge below them. They need to be shooting at these tanks down here near the cliff edge, but they can't see them because these tanks are invisible to them, but they're the ones that will cause the trouble. Those 4 tanks in the middle, or 5 tanks, or whatever number was actually there, they should have come down to the corner here. One of them actually did that, but he didn't get any support from his mates, and at least 2 of them should have come over to where I was in the cap circle. Then they could get inflating fire and rear position fire onto our guys and take out each group individually, because the 3 separate groups on the hill are isolated. Instead they sat over there and they allowed me to pick them off one at a time. And even when they did come after me, and the Tiger P here, as soon as I take a shot at him, comes after me. But he comes after me, but he comes after me in his own. The hammer is there behind, kind of supporting him, but the hammer appears here again. I managed to put another round into him. If the 2 of them had come after me together, there's no way I'd have won the fight, because it would have been 2 against 1. I'm a big slow tank and I'm only well armoured from the front. They would they'd have higher rate of fire. They one of them could get around me while the other one is keeping me occupied from the front, and even if I managed to kill one of them, I would never manage to actually work my way through the hit points of both of them before the 2 of them combined would have taken me out of the game. I really don't see how they could have won, other than by doing what they did, which is more or less come at me one at a time. Now, the hammer actually doesn't even come at me. He doesn't defend that corner any further. I wait here for a while. He tries to bait a shot for a few turns, but I'm, I don't want to fire until I get a clean shot because of my low rate of fire, and I don't want to be exchanging hit point for hit point with the hammer because I don't have that many hit points to begin with. So when I get around to moving over, that hammer has actually moved on, but at that stage it's too late. And if they'd taken out my position, even at this point in the game, if they were putting pressure on the cap circle, they would probably could cause enough confusion to give their tanks a chance to recover. Because those two tanks up in the airfield are still relatively intact, although they never really left that position. So they weren't much good to their team at any rate. I come over here now, and these guys are as blissfully unaware of my existence as I have been, I suppose, with the enemy in other games. I don't get to kill the Leo. He gets blown up before I make it at the corner, but he was totally oblivious to my existence. There is a T150 over here who's in pretty good nick until I put a round into him. But again, T150 at that location, I don't see what use he was to his team really. The IS-2 was aware in that he reacted as soon as I shot at the T150 more or less. Not only saw me or the Tiger P, but he was a bit more on the ball than the rest of his teammates. I was going to take out the T150 until the IS-2 took out the Tiger P, and then I felt I had to deal with him. But it's game over at this stage, it's just mopping up, it doesn't really matter what I do. These guys aren't going to win with only so few tanks remaining and so many of our tanks still in the game. But at that point there, at what was it, 12.5 minutes remaining, so that'd be what, 2.5 minutes into the game, the enemy team were actually in a very dominant position. They had literally their foot on our throat, and they could have won this game, and they just threw it away by not continuing what they're doing. In fact, it's one of the more extraordinary features of this is the fact that the enemy team were more or less in the cap circle and didn't, or had an open cap circle to head to and never actually headed towards it. So thank you for watching. I hope you enjoyed the video. If you do, please consider giving it a like and giving the channel a subscription. And thank you for watching once again, and I will catch you all again soon.